Hi Poodle users, I'm going to give you a little introduction to some of the new things that we've added to Poodle over the last few weeks and months. It's been a while since we've sent a newsletter or done an update, so I think some of this will be new for you and I hope it's interesting. I'm going to start with Poodll Solo, then talk about Poodll WordCards, and then talk about Poodll MiniLesson. The updates to the other plugins are few or not very interesting. So here in Poodll Solo, just a few updates. One of them is to the this area here where we can see the more statistics, the Cepher level, the relevance, the words per minute. We've got an option now to use a different level here or to display multiple levels or no levels depending on what you're doing. And then here where we have this 5-star rating, some teachers have said that they prefer to have a percent score. They actually show the students what their actual score was. So those are the two settings that we've allowed you to change. And you can do that here in the results display. You can choose to show, for example, their IELTS level and not their Cepher level. And you can make that star grade a percent grade plus a donut chart. And if I save that, and we have a look at it, so here we have a donut chart in place of the star grade. And down here we've got an estimated IELTS level in place of the Cepher level. Those estimates are really just estimates. I don't think you should get too excited about them or place too much importance on them, but now you have that option anyway. You can also choose to hide it if that's more preferable. The other thing that we can do now in the Poodll Solo is in the activity steps, we can remove the prepare step entirely for if we just want to record and then go straight to the model, or even go straight from the recording to the results if we're not going to set a model. We have that option now, so that really speeds things up for people who don't want that prepare step. We don't actually need the prepare step. It's kind of a legacy thing, and I think it's a good suggestion by one of our users to just remove that. So here we are on the Cookie Monster and the Count activity. I've just got the 3 steps, which is 1 is the record, 2 is the model, and then 3 is the finished screen, the results. And if you scroll down, we'll see the recording area is directly on the page there, so there's no prepare step, and that's probably a good default option for most of you. Okay, so I want to go now to WordCards. So let's just jump out of here and go to WordCards. So the main thing that I want to tell you that is new in WordCards is we now have this option here, which is a language changer. So in this case, this is a WordCards activity where the target language is English, but the native language of the learner is Japanese. So we're showing them the definitions in Japanese. But there is the case in many classrooms where the native language of the learners is different depending on the student, because they come from different parts of the world, or even though they're in the same classroom, or perhaps they're accessing from somewhere else remotely, they're not all going to be wanting to see the definitions in Japanese. And this is also useful if you're shipping courses and the recipients of your courses don't speak the same language. So now, provided you have added those words to your WordCard sets using the WordCard wizard, and that you did that recently, so you might have to remake some of your sets if you want to actually use this feature, the student can choose their native language from this chooser here. And if they choose, for example, Russian, you'll see that when I press the change button, those definitions come back and they are in Russian. Okay, and I can flip the card. I'll also see the definitions here in Russian. Now, that native language, that will follow the user around the different Poodle mods. So in Poodll Solo and in Poodll MiniLesson, it can pick up that native language, and we can display the feedback for their speaking or writing in their native language. So this is actually user preference. It follows the user around. Now, the other thing that we can do is a new feature for WordCards is we have another activity option called Words Preview. And I want to show that to you. So in Words Preview, we choose the words that we already know, and that will mark those words as learned, so the student doesn't have to actually do the practice activities for the words when they already know those words. They've learned them previously. They've encountered them in the past. So to demonstrate, I'm going to choose two words that I think I know: move and turn, and scroll down to the bottom and press begin. Now, it won't just accept that I know those words, because in some cases we can't really accept that the learners are so sincere about their learning. So first we're going to test the users that they do actually know those words, and if they do, then they will be learning. They'll be marked as learned effectively. So I actually don't know if that is move. I'm going to guess it's move. And that's turn. Okay. So now I've marked those two words as correct. They've been marked as correct, and they've been removed from my list of words to learn. They are marked as learned, but in the situation where you are a teacher, we don't track your learning. So you need to be logged in as a student for those words to be tracked, to be marked as learned. Okay, and the other thing I can't show it to you so easily here, but we've actually added a word learned event. So if you're using Level Up, you can choose the word learned event as a source of points, and so every time students learn words, they can be given points in Level Up. Okay, so the next activity I want to talk about now is MiniLesson. So we've added some new activity types. So if we go to the lesson items here, we can see Space Game arrived last year, so you may have already seen that. That's been in WordCards for a while, but it's now in MiniLesson, so you can create a little space game by matching words. We have a free speaking activity, a free writing activity, and a passage reading activity. So basically we've taken some of the functionality that is available in Poodll Solo and in Read Aloud. We brought that over to MiniLesson, so you can actually create sequences of learning activities, one of which might be passage reading, another free speaking, another free writing, alongside multi-choice speech cards and the other activities. Let's have a look at this one on this page here, which is passage reading. So here's our reading passage. Worms live under the ground. We do not see them, but they are important. Without worms, those plants not growing. But the worms are good for food. So one thing you'll notice is that it's very fast, and we're using a different transcription method here, which probably needs to be made a little bit more robust. It may not work as well on mobile, but it does work very quickly. We get these nice results here, like that. Now, if we go back and look at the free speaking activity type, in this picture we got the dog and it's on the bike. There's two mouses and there's a cat, and that cat, it's something in its hands, but it's doing something. So you can see the word count is going up in real time, and it'll just take a short time, and then we'll get a nice result back. Okay. Several things to say about the results. We are tracking the relevance as we do in Poodll Solo. We have the original text here, and then we have the corrected text beneath it. We can hover over the corrected text to see its location in the original. We can hide the inline corrections to just display the passage as the students might have written it if they were a native speaker. And we have the feedback. And the feedback, you'll see it's in Russian because our user preference for Russian as our native language has followed us here. Okay, so that's really nice if you are building those sort of courses. That's an option, of course. You can turn that on or off, but it's on here on the demo site. And now let's have a look at Poodll MiniLesson's free writing activity. Okay, so here we've got the option, we've got the ability now to ask the students to write something and then to give them feedback instantly on their writing. So I'm going to try that here. Elephants are very much big than the cat, but the cat is pretty cute and it got a lot of hair on all over it. Okay, submit. Okay, and the results are very similar to the free speaking, but in fact it's basically the same code there. Again, the feedback's in Russian because that's our native language preference, and we've got the highlighted corrections here. One of the options we do have in the free writing is to disable copy and paste in the text area. So now if I right click here, I don't get anything. I'm trying to right click. If I type in a word and I try to copy it, I can't right click and copy it. So one of the reasons we do this, of course, the main reason, is to prevent students copying and pasting text from another location into here and then claiming that that was written by them when it was not. Now, another feature of MiniLesson that we have added is this one here, show item review. And so immediately after the student has attempted the item, show them the correct answer and any feedback if the item supports it. So this is very good because it means that after the student has completed, for example, a multi-choice, they've chosen their answer, they can see which answer was correct and which was incorrect. This has always been available in MiniLesson, but not all of the item types supported it as well as that. But WordCards has always been like that. After you complete one of the learning activities, afterwards you see a summary of your attempt on that particular learning activity, and you then move on to the next one. So here now in MiniLesson, you can turn that on or off, but by default it's on. And then when you do an activity, listen and repeat, for example, the woman was cooking bacon. And then I get a summary at the end of the particular learning activity of my answers, the correct answers, and the ability to review those. Now, one or two more things to show. The next thing I want to show is the new image buttons feature in MiniLesson. So this is a multi-choice question, but in the past we've had the ability to have audio players or just text as options for the choice, but here we've added the ability to have images. And in this case, it's a multi-choice question. Which of these is not wearing a hat? It's going to be number 3. And take us through the next page. Okay, so that's the image buttons feature that's in multi-choice. If you look at the settings here under display options, we've got plain text, audio players plus plain text, and then images plus plain text. If you don't want to have text in there, as in the example we just saw, you just simply leave the text boxes empty. Okay. And there's one more thing I can show you here. Not sure we've ever talked about this, but we have a feature to now import and export the activity types or the items inside the MiniLesson. So if you go to the import tab, the default import option is now JSON because CSV is very hard to work with when there's so many different ways to use a particular column of data. Like text 1 can be all of the sentences in a speaking activity, or it can be just the first option in the multi-choice. It could be empty. So it doesn't always mean the same thing depending on the different item type. So it's very hard to create one of those in a CSV file. So we now have a JSON format, which is another level of kind of hard to edit, but in a JSON editor that is quite nice. But what we can also do is we can export the items. So if we look at the export items feature here, they will export all of the questions in this particular activity as a JSON file. So let's do that. And that's also going to take those images. So if we go back now to another mini lesson on this course, let's choose this one here, A Little Fun. And we look at the lesson items. You'll see we have passage reading, free writing, free speaking, but we don't have an image question. So we're going to go to the import, and let's import that file that we just exported. So I'm just going to go over to my thing here. I'm going to drag that file over here. I just drag that in there. That's the JSON file we just exported in the previous step. Save changes. There's no opportunity to cancel at this point. It's just done that for us. And that has been imported. If I go now to the lesson items, we'll see there's our image multi-choice there. And if we actually have a look at that, pop that open into the preview screen there, we'll see even the images have come through. Okay, so terrific. Okay, now just one more thing I want to show you, and that is the push feature. Now by default, it's not enabled. That is we're going to create a push tab here. So go to Site Administration and go to my settings for MiniLesson. So you need to be logged in as an administrator to enable it, and then you need to be basically a manager on the site to use it. We're going to go down here to enable the push tab. Okay, enable push tab. Having done that, when I go to my MiniLesson, okay, we now have this push tab here. And the push tab allows us to export settings from this particular MiniLesson to other MiniLesson activities in the course or site-wide, or even just activities site-wide with the same activity name if you've got the situation where you have one particular course multiplied many times across your site. And there's only a few options that we can push to other activities at this stage, but we'll add more in the future. One of those is the maximum number of attempts allowed. Another is the transcription engine to use. And another is to show item review or not on all of the other courses or all of the other activities in this course in this site or of the same name. It's just going to choose the setting for item review or transcriber or max attempts that is in this particular activity. So if we want to change it, we'd go to the settings for this activity, perhaps set show item review to false, then press push, and then all of the MiniLesson items on this site would have the show item review as false in that situation. Okay, well, that's a lot to have covered in one little update of MiniLesson. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you enjoy it.